reassured tenants. We're so sorry about that technical glitch, but we've sorted it out. We'll continue with the president, who reassured tenants that the government will always protect them against land grabbers. Now, the president made the remarks by launching the Kalule Community Playground and commissioning the Kabuta block at Excel Vocational Training Center in Kalule Parish, Nyimbwa Sub-County, Luwero City District. He assured Luwero residents that no one is allowed to evict them from their land, even if they have a land title. Museveni congratulated the founder of Excel Vocational Training Center, Haj Mwanje Shafiq, for his contribution towards the education sector in Uganda. Haj Mwanje Shafiq, the director of Excel Vocational Training Center and also the NRM chairman for Bukoma Nsimbi District, thanked President Museveni for his able leadership that has enabled tremendous development in Uganda. Excel Vocational Training Center has been able to admit over 3,000 students, both in technical training and business programs.
Nafuna bamusulako ekigoye capital abeera mu mutwe. Nolwekyo njala kusiima ekitiibwa president olw'oma amaanyi g'otadde mu by'emikono. Njala kusiima president olw'enkyukakyuka z'otadde mu ggwanga lino. Era njagala kusaba mukama wange olwali tulina album.
I visited the center, and the 8 or so skills there are good skills.
President agamba achadde ku Excel Vocational era alabyeyo ebintu ebirungi ennyo nga birungi okutendeka abaana.
The skills like motor mechanics,
ebintu okutendeka nga okukanika emmotoka,
like building,
okuzimba,
metal work,
okwokya ebyuma,
and all that are very good skills.
President agamba nti ebyo birungi nnyo mu kiseera kino kye tulimu nga Bannayuganda.
So I will give him support to conclude some of the things.
Kati President agamba agenda mwongera amaanyi ezo ebyo byayogeddeko abyongeremu nnyo amaanyi bibeere nga ate bikola nnyo okusinga we bibadde ku Excel Vocational.
And Shafiq, Mwanje is a challenge to all of you.
Mwami Shafiq Mwanje kyakusomooza kinene eri mwenna.
Because he's blind.
Kubanga Shafiq Mwanje tatunula.
But he has done so much.
Naye akoze ebintu bingi mu butatunula obwo, naye akoze ebintu bingi n'atusomooza ffe abalina amaaso abiri.
I had visited him in Bukoma Nsimbi.
Yamukyalirako e Bukoma Nsimbi.
And I saw what he was doing there.
Era n'alaba ng'akola ebintu by'amagero.
So the question is, if somebody who doesn't see can do all this, how about you who has got all the faculties? So therefore, you people of Luwero who are near the market here,
kakati mwe Bannaluweero abali ekinnya n'empindi n'akatale akali wakati,
you should be doing much better.
Ate mwe mwandisinzeewo nnyo kubanga muli wakati mu katale.
Now, what my Muzukulu Hadija is talking about the land issues, this is because people don't listen to the message of the NRM.
Kati muzzukulu we Hadija ensonga gy'ayogeddeko ensonga y'ettaka akkiriza yes n'ekyo kiriwo olw'ensonga abantu tebawuliriza magezi ga NRM gewadde wajja bujjo ku ky'ettaka.
We had a big battle with the landlords in the CA.
Twalina olutalo lunene n'abannannyini ttaka naddala mu kiseera ky'okubaga ssemateeka.
Now, tragedy struck Wakiso district Saturday morning as a section of KCCA's Kitezi landfill collapsed, engulfing over 50 homes and claiming multiple lives. Scores have been confirmed dead following the mass waste-slide that happened in Lusanja village in Kitezi sub-county, Wakiso district.
This catastrophic event occurred early this morning around 7 a.m. in Lusanja village, located in Kitezi parish, Wakiso district. According to primarily police findings, at least 8 bodies have been recovered from the debris of the garbage sludge. The rescue operation is ongoing, with authorities fearing more victims could still be buried. Among those affected is Momali Kalule, who has tragically lost 7 family members in this disaster. So far, 3 bodies of his dead relatives have been recovered, but Kalule is pleading with the government to increase manpower to expedite the evacuation process.
Mama abadde awonye ate naddayo mu nnyumba okunona abazzukulu n'abaana be takomyewo. Abazzukulu 3 n'abaana be 4. Era afiiriddeyo omwana wetu akafunako omu n'abazzukulu 2.
Another victim, Namata Jacqueline, who lost 4 family members, attributes this to corruption within the country. She expressed her anger, stating that despite promises, the affected families were never resettled due to corruption.
Awantu wano bali mu program egulawo. Okitegeera naye bw'ogamba abantu wange nti tundawo miliyoni meka nti 5 oba 10. Oli bwatuuka eri waggulu ateekako nti zibadde miliyoni 10 ameka. Gavumenti ne balyamu ssente ezo nga nki mpitirivu ze tusabye ne banne babivungavunga binne biremesebwa. Ekiro ne bayonga kituuma ttaka ne bayonga kituuma ttaka naye nga kyajjula balina okugula awantu abantu ne bavaawo kubanga ffe twalina buzibu kuva wano. Ffe twalina buzibu tulaba enkulaakulana wejja awantu muvaawo. Nenaffe twali tugambye baba batugula batukole ki batugule era nga nze ngamba batugula ddi tweyongereyo tugende tugule yewala naye katumaze fiirwa abaana baffe tumaze fiirwa abaana ennyumba esirikiddemu abaana basirikidde omwo naye nga kiva ku nguzi.
These voices are just a few among the many who have lost loved ones in the waste collapse at Kitezi landfill.
Abantu bali wansi kasasiro ali wache ali waggulu funyo kati nga bo batadde ku bulamu bw'abantu mu bunkenke era nga kibadde baagala n'ennyongera okubira gavumenti omulanga sigenda kukoma wano bulakulo obulamu bwa mama wange n'abantu bange bonna nja kuba mukambwe nnyo kulaba nga nfuna obwenkanya.
Mama afiiridde muganda wange mwali n'abaana 8 banneyiba abaana 5 bafiiridde munda abantu tetubala nti 20 oba 3 wabula tubala abantu abali mu 10 kuba kubaddeko rental house nga ze zisinga emizigo gibadde mingi gya kumukumu abantu bonna bazikiridde baweddewo.
So far, police have confirmed 8 fatalities, but rescue efforts continue as more people are feared to be trapped.
So far, we have retrieved the 6 dead bodies. Before us reaching here, the locals had rescued 3 people alive, but we are going to trace them where they are, the various clinics that they were taken to, and we have also rescued 1 dog alive. So far the rescue mission is ongoing. We shall stay here until we see that all the dead bodies are retrieved.
State Minister for Disaster Preparedness, Lilian Abel, while at this site, stated that government has begun preparations to resettle those surviving victims and their families.
Local leaders will sit down and agree where these people can temporarily be relocated, preferably whether it's school, where there is security or any open land, but we have to get where they can go.
Deputy Executive Director of KCCA, David Luyimbazi, also gave a statement regarding KCCA's stand on the matter.
But of course, it's time ya kunenya muntu yena ebitalo bibaddewo kati sawa ya kuza kulaba nga tunula abantu abasinga abakoseddwa amangu dalanga kisoboka. Then after that twabenga tulabanga tutangira abantu okusemberera landfill eno.
The politicians who showed face at this collapsed landfill had this to say about the whole incident.
Tulina okuvaayo kati mu kiseera kino ne twenyanyamula ne tuyingira KCCA ne tukola ebintu bino. Kasasiro gyasigaddewo nakatuliwa ne sawa enakola kusinga nabika amayumba gano bino bize balaba enyamfa ezibadde mu kasasiro ebyo babadde nga baziraba nenga tebatekinga step.
The rescue operation is still ongoing until all those allegedly buried by the garbage sludge are found. Justine Nakami, UBC News, in Wakiso.
The Kyangwali land wrangle has resulted into a dire situation for over 10,000 residents who were forcibly evicted from 64 square miles of land in Kyangwali sub-county, Chikove district. The evictees are living in desperate conditions, lacking basic necessities such as healthcare, education for their children, and assistance for women during birth. Their displacement has led to significant distress, with many describing their situation as hopeless.
During a visit by the State Minister of Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, to address land issues in Burisa and Chikube districts, residents expressed their grievances.
n'abantu baitu kufa n'abana baitu kutagenda amasomero baitu tukatungaga kutocherengwa ko kwabere henyuma.
Sanyu James, a local leader, voiced his shock and despair over the eviction, noting that even court orders and directives from the president to return the residents to their land were disregarded.
If your neighbor's house is on fire, next is yours.
Chikube Residents District Commissioner Amran Tumusime warned that the land disputes in Bunyoro Kingdom are a time bomb and criticized the promotion of those involved in the evictions despite the president's order for their arrest.
So no had no land. If he's given 2 acres, he goes freely because he had no land. He was working for his master, but the very owner of that land was not given. These are the people you are seeing here, and they are in thousands. So to me, I have been saying this, I will continue saying this. Officials in the office of the Prime Minister are known who have made these people suffer. The president in 2016 had even directed they should be arrested, but they were instead promoted.
Fiona Barungi, the senior presidential advisor on general duties, was moved to tears as she expressed her disbelief at how Ugandans are being treated.
Omumpunji nibo bakubaho bati empunji nizo zikubaho ziti so magara ganje nanta kumanya ngo ari umunya Uganda uri kubaza kubaha hati nati na nagira oboba konko mboba bwanje ni manyango rahangaraho kandi rahanga nayamba bakukumisiriza.
In response, Dr. Sam Mayanja assured the residents that he would closely follow up on every issue and document related to the land dispute. He pledged to ensure that justice is served and that the displaced residents are eventually restored to their land.
Their land. He did it in writing. The delegation went to him. And the people were directed. I think it's the Prime Minister's office. Now, why have they not implemented? Why? I think journalists must ask this question, much as I'm asking this question. But now, as Minister of the President and his senior personal assistant who have been there and the RDC, we have agreed we are going to get a memorandum. We are properly written. They are very fluent as we've heard them. Get it properly, and we shall sit with her and we will see how to present to the president. By way of reminder that your instructions have not been implemented.
The affected areas include 28 villages from Kasonga Parish and 27 villages from Kyangwali Parish. For UBC News, I'm Charity Nahawe and Jamil Sekaja.
Environmental economists have called for a more robust strategy and implementation of the country's transition to clean energy. Led by Dr. Peter Babienda, lecturer from Makerere University, said that there is an urgency from biomass to clean energy, especially in rural areas, which is highly affected. Dr. Peter raised this concern during the meeting with civil servants who have been training at Makerere University in Environment for Development Center and the Inclusive Green Economy Program, aiming at teaching civil servants on policies aimed at promoting Uganda's green agenda.
Actually organic. So as Uganda as a country, as we are growing economically, as we are seeing population increasing, we must adopt the green growth agenda if we have to sustain our economic growth. And I want to tell you that from the knowledge we have acquired, and even more who are coming on board, we presume that it is going to be a contribution to the adoption of the green economy growth agenda in this country.
So what we would expect is the government to work with these rural people to develop more efficient cooking techniques like LPGs. If they would subsidize from what they have to the urban, they may not subsidize, but to the rural person, may they subsidize such that this rural person may be able to use the efficient cooking.
Reducing carbon, but also encouraging clean cooking, because we have seen there are so many problems associated with dirty cooking. When you use firewood, charcoal, that smoke is dangerous in terms of health. So we are trying to see how can we reduce that and people adopt the clean cooking. We have looked at issues of accessibility. Some households are not connected. Some rural areas don't have electricity. We have looked at the reliability of electricity. So sometimes you are connected, but the electricity is not reliable.
In more news of the week, Makerere University staff members have issued a warning to the university leadership, cautioning against any attempts to divert government allocated funds intended for salary harmonization. The members of staff are protesting management's unilateral decision to postpone the salary harmonization that was scheduled to take effect in July 2024.
In April 2024, government allocated 61 billion to public universities for salary harmonization for the 2024-2025 financial year, with Makerere University receiving 12.6 billion shillings. Makerere University staff feel betrayed by the management's decision to delay the salary increment for professionals with the same qualifications under the same pay scale.
At this time, they are saying if you don't have an academic qualification for the scale where you're supposed to go, you will not be harmonized. Literally, this means, for example, if I'm a custodian at Makerere, custodians have been earning PU15, M15, which is PU15 now, at around 1.2 gross salary, but a custodian, the same person in Chambogo, is earning PU13, which is around 1.6. What does that mean? There is that disharmony, and that's what we have been fighting against.
During a general assembly chaired by Dr. Robert Kakuru, the Makerere University academic staff expressed their disappointment over management's alleged moves to discharge some staff members without the minimum qualifications under unclear circumstances.
The council and the university management are committed to this approach of dialogue in ensuring that in implementing any changes at the university, we work together with everybody, with all the staff members, with all the affected people. And I believe we have been able to touch the important issues, and the issues which we could not resolve here, we have documented them and we will be discussing them with the appointments dealt at the University Council.
The staff are concerned about the management's actions, which seem to undermine the trust between the administration and the employees.
There was a requirement that staff who are going to be redesignated, that they should face again the appointments board in form of an interview. We found that a little bit members found that a little bit unfair, and they requested the members, the representatives to the University Council, to present these matters to the appointments board and request for that waiver, so that staff who are being redesignated should not face the appointments board again.
The university administration will continue to engage in dialogue with staff and address any challenges in policy implementation. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs Balam Bargahare Atenyi has called upon Ugandan youth and Africans in general to embrace African cultures through art and film rather than foreign content. Now, Balam was officiating the African Image Conference of African Monologue Challenge at Uganda Communications Commission. The challenge has drawn 10 participants from 10 African countries. Take a look.
So we are at Uganda Communication Commission this morning to commission and also to launch and also to welcome the winners of the Africa Monologue Challenge who are in Kampala to take part in a competition that is redefining Africa.
Grace Kabayo, a presidential advisor who was the host of this monologue, advised the 10 participants to value their various cultures, practice humanity, and unite as one Africa through art, film, and content.
First, value what you have. Right from yourself, who you are, where you've come from, and let nobody deceive you by diverting you to tribalism or nepotism or what. No way. Value what you have, whatever it is, then make the best out of it. Once you do that, you are innovative.
The 10 participants from the various countries expressed different views and ideas on film and art, all in a bid to reinvent the original Pan-Africanism.
Africa is not a problem to flee from. It is our home. It is a story we're constantly writing. We are not beggars. We are builders. We are creators. We are visionaries. Everything is within us.
Leaders that will encourage Africans to intertrade, to have one African market, to take control of their own resources, because this is how Africa is going to grow.
The real image of Africa is a powerhouse woman from Zambia who built a school in her community. Because she wants to see the children in the community receiving quality education. The real image of Africa is a young man from Cameroon who uses the resources in his hands to create very beautiful things.
The Africa Image Conference was under the theme, Rebranding Africa, Changing the Narratives. For UBC News, I'm Charity Nahabwe.
The AIDS support organization TASO Sorority Center of Excellence the Sorority Center of Excellence has held its 18th annual Center General Meeting under the theme Empower and Let Communities Lead. The event was graced by the Minister of State for TASO Affairs, Honorable Clement Kenneth Ongalo Obote, who commended TASO's tireless efforts in raising awareness about HIV and AIDS in Uganda.
The Minister of State for TASO Affairs, Honorable Clement Kenneth Ongalo Obote, has pledged the government's continued commitment to supporting TASO's mission, particularly in reducing the spread of HIV among the youths.
You must continuously remind these young people that you are still living under the cloud of this very terrible disease. There is still no cure for it. We can cure COVID, we can cure TB, we can cure so many other things, but there is still no cure for HIV.
This pledge was made during the 18th annual general meeting of the AIDS support organization Sorority Center of Excellence, which was held under the theme Empower and Let Communities Lead. The center programs manager at TASO, Sorority, Mr. Odoi Charles, highlighted significant progress in the number of clients under their care, showcasing the impact of their community-driven approach.
Today we have 6,209 clients active in care. This, as compared to last year, we had a lower number. The number keeps growing. Unfortunately, the funds keep dwindling. And so we call upon people of goodwill, our partners, and everyone, individuals, to come and subscribe so that we can increase the domestic funding, local resource funding.
When TASO was founded, you became the lifeline to those who had previously had no hope, much like that gentleman who introduced his assignment. It's the first time I'm hearing an assignment of that nature. But AIDS, all of a sudden, had a face. And you taught us, you taught Uganda, you taught society to talk openly about AIDS.
This year's meeting reinforces TASO's ongoing dedication to empowering communities and ensuring they take the lead in the fight against HIV/AIDS.
This year, we commenced the Triple Elimination Project, which is funded by the Pfizer Foundation, and it is focusing on eliminating mother-to-child transmission of HIV, hepatitis B, and syphilis. And last week, we were in Kumi District.
Advisory Committee, Center Management Team, all staff and volunteers for their tireless efforts in ensuring that the Center of Excellence achieves its goals and targets, especially when we lost the Sorority Regional Project.
For UBC News, I'm Charity Nahawe and Vincent.
The second Deputy Prime Busoga Kingdom, Ahmed Osman, has deprived the increased cases of chronic diseases and poor access to healthcare to local people despite government's intervention in the health sector. He was at Busoga Square in Jinja City opening a 10-day health camp organized by the Indo-Africa Charitable Society and the Indian Association of Uganda.
Exact what time saver you tell me?
In this charity for the past 15 years. This is not something very small and that we can take for granted. It calls for pooling resources and time as well, especially when health has become a big challenge to humanity lately. I want to interest the Indian community to get in touch with our health arm, which is the Busoga Health Forum, which has professionals and which has also donors who have been supporting us for the past years.
1,700 people in 3 days. It seems like today maybe 2,500 or maybe a little more than that. I'm not sure, because seeing the crowd here, it feels like we must have 2,500 people coming today to the camp.
At this camp, and I feel wonderful. I'm already looking forward for next year, and it's just awesome. It's a good feeling. I feel rewarded to help all these people. And I just absolutely love Jinja. Jinja is at my heart. That's why I'm helping all the people in Jinja.
Few major cases, what we do, we try to enroll them in some of our schemes, and then once the camp is finished, we try to differentiate if they are major, if we need to keep them, if we need to give them services from Mulago, if we need to take them to India, we do also those kind of services, but that one we select once the camp is over.
onamugana jamusula wonamusanga naye akati omusula gyomusanga yonna mumpe nze nja kubeera naye kati emyaka 7 nga ndi n'omwana yamumpa wa mwezi gumu.
The Banyole community living in Kampala and beyond have gathered at Kyambogo University in Kampala to deliberate on key issues hindering development in the area. In a conference addressed by the Director of Communications at the NRM Party Secretariat, Emmanuel Dombo, it was highlighted that disunity has stagnated development in Butaleja district.
Let people go and contest. But
it has always been emphasized that working as a team can walk you far, and indeed that is what the Banyole community living in Kampala has decided to do.
We really have a lot of challenges, but those challenges we cannot solve them maybe as an individual, but we need collective efforts, we need collective discussions. That's why we are here as Banyole.
Bukedi has been identified as one of the poorest regions in Uganda. And when you come to Bukedi, Butaleja district, we are even poorer than the average poverty in Bukedi district. Therefore, we have gathered today in order to devise means of improving household income.
Saturday, they convened at Kyambogo University in Kampala for a one-day prosperity meeting.
So the dream to come together started when we have been always meeting as few Banyole and having conversations, and we said, why don't we at least organize a day and bring together all those key passionate Banyole.
And we are trying to come up to identify people who can help us to act like role models. So we felt we should start with a few number that should be able to learn. Then they go and implement whatever we have learned from this workshop at the district level.
Bill studying about dairy production and productivity. We have been talking about value addition. We're also talking about services and attracting the young people, instead of looking for jobs that are not there, to get back to Butaleja, because there are very many jobs that we haven't identified yet.
The dream is to drive Banyole development agenda up to the lower grassroots level.
Of building capacity of the people, that they have the skill, they have the right mind, and therefore they can work for a common goal where we move from being peasants to wealth multiplying people.
Looking at things like how can somebody transform himself or herself using the 4-acre model, something that the president has been singing about, and so this is the right time. We are saying that we need to be organized.
Our government has been advising us to leave wetlands, but if we are to leave wetlands, what are the options which can be available, the available options, and some of them are fish farming. So those and other issues, things of forming cooperatives.
Apart from sharing knowledge of development, the Banyole are also meeting to deliberate on how best they can revive their culture.
I'm happy that finally so many stakeholders in the district, the likes of the professors and the other stakeholders, the land people in the district, have also come up jointly to work with the district leader.
We are saying that in this one we don't want to bring in politics, because politics sometimes may deter some people to participate. So we are saying we're only looking at people who are pro-development.
Bukedi sub-region, Butaleja at the heart, has a rich history. Everybody wants to know what happened in this region of Africa. We can document this history and turn it into a rich museum. And there are very many people that will come from all over the world to come and visit this place.
In a significant step towards transforming education in Uganda, the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with South Korea, has launched the Spiritual Quotient program, a groundbreaking initiative designed to equip educators with tools and knowledge to foster growth-oriented mindset in students. This program is focused on enhancing spiritual intelligence, which is considered vital for the holistic development of young minds.
The SQ program, originally developed in South Korea, emphasizes the importance of nurturing students' spiritual and emotional intelligence alongside traditional academic skills. This initiative recognizes that education should not only be about intellectual development, but also cultivating inner qualities such as empathy, resilience, and a strong moral compass.
The specification, we can do customization. For example, this one. Now, inside the chipset is 12th generation i7, and RAM is 8, and hard disk is 512 SSD, and the size is 14.1 inch. Yes, and if you want other specification, we can do customization for you.
Teachers across Uganda being trained to incorporate the principles of spiritual intelligence into their teaching methods.
We are on the permission with the Ministry of Education and Sports. We are introducing the program to teachers and schools so that we can start tackling the issue of mindset for our children and the youth.
This training equipped them with the skills needed to guide students in developing a growth-oriented mindset, which is crucial for their success in both personal and academic pursuits.
Our tradition of teaching has been theoretical. Now we are here to learn on how we can teach with children so that learning can become real and our children can benefit more, especially on technological advances, because we find that teaching theoretically may not bring quick development of this country.
It has enabled me to learn that as teachers we need to change our mind and focus on new innovations and creativity to enable our schools perform better.
So that Kaye, UBC News.
Hundreds of thousands of worshippers covered at Lugogo to celebrate the 10 years of Phaneroo ministries. Politicians, pastors, musicians were all in attendance. Phaneroo, led by Apostle Grace Lubega, commended government for providing space to allow them honor their God.
During their 10-year celebrations where thousands attended, Apostle Grace Lubega urged all religious leaders to desist in fights that deter the growth of the church but rather promote Christ. It is at the same event that Apostle Grace Lubega commended government for accepting Phaneroo acquire land for worship.
In the congregation, approached the president of Uganda and told him our plight. And immediately he wrote a directive and said with immediate effect, allow Phaneroo ministries to occupy and develop their church without any limitations. So wherever the president of Uganda is, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, if for no other thing, Phaneroo ministries raise their hands to bless God because you had the plight of the church. Somebody celebrate Jesus.
The festivities were attended by different pastors, musicians and politicians celebrating Christ's providence for the last 10 years. At the same event, Pastor Emma Mawaje urged the youth to evolve through the grace of God and define their status in life by personality development rather than blaming everything on the government.
Be a difference. Build a life of integrity. Build a life of excellence. As an individual, have a testimony that excels in any area God has given you. Because I believe that personal responsibility, individual responsibility is bigger than corporate responsibility.
With over tens of thousands attending the anniversary, this marks a significant revolution of the young people and the increased interest in their way of life with God in it. Charity Marion Imnat and Rogers Komagum, UBC News.
Well, we'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more stories.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Uganda, are you ready to kick things up to the next level? The Uganda National Lottery brings you Sports Stake 10. Predict the results of 10 football games and win big. With tickets at only 500 shillings, join the fun and make your predictions count with Sports Stake 10. Sports Stake 10, your ticket to football glory.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Uganda fire! Endiva fire! Our border fire!
Uganda! Thank you for showing your fire! Has Nambole Stadium opened its doors once again? While you were moving in, you were the 12th player when Uganda Cranes needed you the most. Through our famous wins against Tubakunda and our unlucky losses, you stood firm, supporting even louder. Now, as Uganda Cranes take on South Africa and Congo this September, South Sudan in October, and play our second legs against South Africa and Congo in November, bring even more fire! Because with your support, Uganda Cranes is unstoppable! Uganda fire! Proudly brought to you by MTN, the #1 supporter of Uganda Cranes. Together, we are unstoppable.
Business News. Uganda's housing goals are articulated in the 3rd National Development Plan for the period 2020-2021 to 2024-2025. The plan aims to address the significant housing deficit and improve living conditions across the country. Since 1964, Uganda Bati has committed to provide durable and long-lasting roofing options for homeowners and developers in Uganda, feeding into the country's housing goals.
There's a question about the overview and the future of the housing sector. And my response to this would be that having looked at the population census that was recently done, we have an average of 45 million Ugandans currently living in Uganda. Our urbanization rate is currently at 5.6 per annum. Now, despite urbanization growth, we also have 48% of urban population living in slums. Now, this ideally gives us two challenges. One, solutions around affordable housing, but two is about quality housing for the population.
The construction industry is a recipient of substandard products. As we speak, we have a number of substandard products within the different channels that we've talked about. And as leaders, as thought leaders in quality products, especially in the steel sector, we have been at the forefront of making sure we advocate for the right standards, but also make sure that we have the right products on the market.
This way before ESG became a big thing, because we already have a policy related to that, and a strategy, a 5-year strategy that speaks into how we are going to manage our carbon footprint as a production institution, as a production company.
Stanbic Bank in Uganda continues to study trends while applying suitable product offerings for private actors to bolster the energy sector of Uganda. Speaking at the recent Stanbic Bank Leadership Forum and Breakfast, speakers emphasized building a resilient energy supply mix for Uganda to enable faster economic development through sustainable financing.
As the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, our target, the bottom line, each time we wake up, our aim is to support Uganda's rapid economic development. We must support deployment of industries, but also support entrepreneurs, where the youth, who constitute over 70% of our population or about, will be supported to have employment, but also become enterprising.
It was interesting reflecting on the Permanent Secretary's remarks, and what it did is it enabled me to reflect on my journey. I started with Standard Bank in Stanbic, Uganda. And so about 15 years ago in Stanbic, Uganda, we actually had an ambition to finance at least 30% of Uganda's generation. Back in the day, that was a relatively small number. But when the Permanent Secretary is talking about generation in Uganda up to 52 gigawatts for 2040, that's going to be a significant amount of investment between now and then. She talked about $5 billion, which is close to 11% of Uganda's current GDP, just in terms of scale. That's the significance of it. So where would Stanbic Bank get involved? It's in the following: continuing to be part of the financing for the generators, the independent power producers.
Uganda's national athletics team coach, Nja Benjamin, has applauded Uganda's team in the Paris 2024 Olympic Marathon and blamed the failure to attain a podium finish to a number of factors. Uganda's best performer was Victor Kiplangat in 37th and Andrew Kwemwe in the 62nd position, while Stephen Kisa didn't finish.
Yeah, the marathon went on well, as all Ugandans witnessed. All of us had a lot of hopes in the boys today, but all did not go well as expected. But of course, that's the sport. That's the sport today. It is winning tomorrow. So, of course, the athletes, I think the way they responded to the coast, to the weather conditions in the morning, I think didn't favor them. But that's the sport. Today you lose and tomorrow you win. So I want to encourage all our Ugandans to still rally behind the remaining team, the women's team tomorrow. So that we can also have a better result. But that's a sport, so we hope our boys will come back and bounce back strongly amidst such a challenging moment for us. Yeah.
And that's all we had for you this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sharon Kyomugisha. Stay tuned for more programming coming your way. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Shocking statistics on road crashes in Uganda show that there were over 23,608 road accidents in a single year, 2023. This highlights an increase of 16% compared to the previous year.